Hey, what's up, everybody? Championship Leadership. I'm excited. We got ALEX MOLDEN here today from Portland, Oregon, and former NFL vet, as well as leadership, personal development coach and speaker. So thanks for being here today, Alex. Really excited to have you here today.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, we're going through the quarantine right now, so we got some time on our hands, and this is perfect time to make some connections like today and get to speak to some people I would never speak to if it weren't for this, and really get a message out to those that are kind of going through this time as well. I know some people kind of struggling through this time, so it's good to be able to hopefully impact and lift some others up as well right now.
Absolutely, man. I'm a big believer in inspiration. Every day I wake up, man, I'm trying to look for inspiration. And I understand that, with my, myself and my background and my past and what I've learned, the different stories and the things that I've, like I said, what I learned, and mostly from my failures, is, and I understand, like, with that, you can be able to inspire people to become better versions of themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we all have them, right? Those failures, and that's what really, it's kind of where the rubber meets the road, right? When it comes to really, getting to the place in life where you want to is a lot of times I think people want to skip those things, they feel like you got to get to this place where you don't have any failures anymore. But I think it's the exact opposite, right?
You are exactly right, Nate. It's one of those deals that, and it happens in every walk of life. I don't care if you're an athlete, if you're a celebrity, actor, actress, mom, dad. We all at some point, because we don't understand how we can use failure as a benefit or use it as a success. We tend to sweep it underneath the rug.
Yeah.
But I think the understanding is like, man, we all fail.
Yeah.
Every one of us, we all fail. There's
Yeah.
only one person that's been perfect. And
That's right.
so it's one of those deals that, man, once you can own it, and once you own it, and then you can be able to share what you've learned from it, man, it can uplift you. And with that, you can uplift others.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to ask you this question. I ask almost all of our guests this question to kind of start the conversation off. The podcast is called Championship Leadership. So interested to hear, like, what does that mean to you? When you hear championship leadership, what does that mean to you?
So championship leadership, I look at it from two lenses, right? Champion means being on top, being a winner. And with that, there's a lot of steps that you have to take to become a champion.
Yeah.
In any walk of life. So I'm trying to be a champion as being a father.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to be a champion for all of my coaching clients. And in leadership, understanding this, what leadership is, when you boil it down, and for me, and you go, when football, I had to get an understanding of it. And so what I've learned is I need to get educated. And so for me, when I first started playing football, I didn't learn how everybody else did, by watching it, by playing it. I mean, I played a little bit, but I didn't understand it. And my dad didn't watch it. So if he didn't watch it, I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I really like this game. I need to educate it. And this was back in the mid 80s, early to mid 80s. So we didn't have the internet. So
That's right.
But what we did have is a set of encyclopedia. And so for me, I learned by reading the encyclopedia. And with that, what I learned is I need to get knowledge of things before I can speak on it or try it. For me, I want to have a great understanding of it. And so I boiled down what leadership is. And leadership is nothing more than influence.
Yeah.
How do I influence others to what I want? All right, because you can influence. I had a conversation with this the other day on Facebook, in my private group, but, talking about influence, and everybody assumes you can influence people in a positive way, and you can, but others can use influence in the negative way.
Yeah.
Pimps, right?
Yeah.
Pimps do that.
Yeah.
Politicians can do that. They can influence in a good way or a negative way. And so leadership is nothing more than influence. And then from there, you have to understand how are you influenced? Are you influenced by someone's character? Are you influenced by their success or their knowledge or their ability? So, when I really broke it down, it gave me a better understanding with that. Man, now I can use influence, I can use leadership to help people become better in their role, their job.
Yeah.
I can help them become better as a mom or a dad or as a husband. So, I would look at trying to build things down so I can have a better understanding before I start to talk on it or teach on it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And, I'm a big believer in that too, really kind of making things, the more simple we can make them, the better off we are, the more likely we are to be successful, right?
Absolutely.
I talk to a lot of, Navy SEALs and special operators, and they're like, we don't do anything special. Actually, nothing we do is really special. It's all broken down to the most basic things, but we're just masters at it. I can imagine your experience. Maybe tell us a little bit more about your experience as well. But time in the NFL, often I think people that have never played high level athletics think that you guys must be practicing some complex things. And yeah, there's some complex strategies and coaching schemes and plans and things like that, but it also always comes down to the basics and just being the best at the fundamentals, right?
Fundamentals. That's what it is. And people, with the hype of social media, and then you get these kids, seeing things from at a higher level. They think it's like you gotta spin on your head, and you gotta balance on one. You have to do these really complex things, and it might happen, but that's at the end of it. That's at the tail end.
Yeah.
Really, like you said, Nate, is you got to have a foundational principle that you play by, and that you can learn. For me, doing performance training, right? So I help athletes become better athletes, whether it's, basketball or baseball, or your soccer mom, whoever, trying to make them become a better athlete. And so I got to start with where they're at.
Yeah.
And so, when I'm working with the athlete, specific, just say a basketball player or just say a football player, right? Most times how we were in high school, a lot of those kids are still training the same. They walk into a weight room. First, they go to the bench.
Yeah, for sure.
Go to the
Or the
bench.
curl rack. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Right.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, if you really look at it, when are you actually doing a curl or you're bench pressing on the field?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the football is played on the field. So you're doing ground-based movements. You're cutting, you're running, you're jumping. Well, how about we develop a ground base for your lower body?
Yeah.
All right. Because I tell all my athletes, I said, athletes are built from the ground up.
Yeah.
You got to understand that. And when you look at, with leadership, and, whether you're being impactful at work, in your corporation, or at home, or in your, whatever, if you're an entrepreneur, like, what is your foundation? And for me, and I learned this, is my foundation is built on my faith. So I know that's unwavering. I know no matter how I feel, I might not feel like doing things one day or being, doing the right thing, but, I'm rooted in my foundation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that concept as well. Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about you and your background, and kind of the path that you took to get to where you are today, which is now corporate leadership, leadership coaching, speaking, also working with athletes. Like, yeah, what maybe just give us a little better idea of who Alex Molden is and how you've gotten to where you are today and what you're doing.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you a quick little story. So once I finished playing football and I played at the University of Oregon, I tore up my knee my freshman year, and it was in a bowl game. And the bowl game, it was the Independence Bowl, and it was first time playing on national TV. Because remember, back in the early 90s, there wasn't like all the 40-something, 35, 40
Yeah,
bowls.
exactly.
There was a handful.
Yeah.
I mean, this was the first, we went to an Independence Bowl, and that was the second bowl game that Oregon had went to in like 20 years. Wow. It was a big deal. And yeah. I'm a 19-year-old redshirt freshman, and I believe in the second quarter, I got a pick six. I intercepted, and I basically walked into the end zone.
Yeah.
And so I'm 19 years old, man. I'm on TV. My mama and
right.
all my homeboys can see me. And I got pick six, man. I'm walking, man. What? You couldn't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
That was the best thing. I was the next Deion Sanders. And 2 series later, because of the way I was feeling confident, right? Uh-huh. But 2 series later, I skipped a process that I've been taught attending the University of Oregon.
Yeah.
Number one, it's always about protecting yourself. And so on this particular play, it was a run play. And the first thing you're supposed to do is you look and see if it's run or pass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Run or pass, get my keys, boom, it's a run. Now your eyes are supposed to go to the receiver, defeat his block, and then make the play. Well, I ignored defeating the receiver's block. And receivers could cut you, they can chop you down, or they can stock block you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I just assumed that this receiver was going to stock block me. Yeah. So I didn't pay any mind. I gave him no regard. I didn't respect him. Excuse me. And because of that, I skipped a step and I paid the ultimate price. The receiver cut me. I didn't protect myself. I tore 3 ligaments in my knee. My ACL, MCL, and severely stretched my PCL. And so from that, man, I learned how to always respect your opponent. Always respect your whoever's in front of you. Give them the proper respect. I also learned what it's like to have something close to taken away from you.
Mm-hmm.
How and the steps that you need to take, the mindset that you need to take to be able to become not just the version of yourself when you got injured or when those bad things happen, but how can you use that to become an even better version? And because of that, honestly, I don't wish it on anybody. I would never want to have to go through that again.
Right.
The pain and the struggle and the learning how to walk and run and then regaining that confidence. I never want to wish it to anybody. But because of the 2 screws I still have in my knee, I would never have reached the type of success that I had in football. And so with that, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from this one particular trainer that we had. He was a performance coach, Coach Jimmy Radcliffe, which I didn't know at the time, but he was world renowned.
Wow.
And I had a chance to work with them for 8 months straight, 5 days a week, 1 hour a day. He was our head strength conditioning coach, but I got to have him one-on-one.
Oh, wow.
The things that I learned from him, having a coach, have somebody who has done their research, they know inside and out how to make me the best athlete that I can be, and also giving me those mindsets. I got a chance to ask him questions over and over again. It turned me into being the best player that I can be. So very, very thankful for that. And on the flip side, when I finished my career, I played 8 years in the NFL, and I finished up. I was 31 years old. It was 2005, and I'm retired. You know, I'm living the life, which really is not the life
Yeah.
when you've been told a certain thing. Your ability has really circumvented or maybe slowed you down developing on other aspects of your life, because you've been had a certain amount of success. People been telling you you're so good in football, you're so good in football, and you start to believe them. And with that, you start to get lost. Like my
Yeah.
character started to, it did become a part of who I was.
Mm-hmm.
So meaning like my ability and my character, they was wrapped into one. And once I stopped playing football, a big piece of me was lost. I didn't know
Yeah.
who it was. But I didn't know this yet.
Yeah.
But when I decided, you know, when we was living in San Diego, fast forward, we end up, you know, the economy and the housing market. So we jumped ship and we moved back up here to Oregon, where my wife is from. Okay, we did that, and you know, sat around being a retired NFL football player, you know, and that can get old really quick. But
Yeah.
before I left to come up here, I ended up working at a nonprofit as a development consultant. So I wrote grants, called, kind of used my platform of playing football to, you know, reach different companies and organizations in San Diego to, you know, to foster a relationship and, you know, basically get money from them for our nonprofit. Did that for about 7 months, ended up leaving. And like I said, when I got bored here, I said, man, I guess I got to look for a job. I don't know how this
Yeah.
works.
Right. Right.
And I did that and found an organization that they had an opening. I was like, man, that looks kind of close to what I did. And shoot, I got experience now. I got a full 7 months. Let's
Yeah.
go. And I played football, you know, that
Yep.
got to help.
Yeah.
And end up, you know, reaching out to them, got an interview, you know, got my little suit and tie, walked in there and with my little resume, and sat down with the lady and handed it to her. And she proceeded to ask me questions, not about me, but about the organization. And I didn't have a clue.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
thought I thought that my resume, my experience, and
Yeah.
then my past success would just be a perfect fit. And she started asking me questions about them, but then she started asking questions about me.
Mm-hmm.
And this lady that I just met, 15 minutes in, she basically said, Alex, you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
And she was dead right.
Yeah.
And she said, you know, this is not the position for you. And she said, to be honest, before you go on any more job interviews, whatever, you need to find out exactly who you are.
Yeah.
And she
Wow.
walked me out. She said, thank you, but basically, no, thank you. Have a nice day or a nice life. Sounded the same.
Yeah. Right. Right.
But that walk from her office to the front door, and I've been cut, you know, playing in the
Yeah.
NFL. I've
Yeah.
been released. I've been cut. You know, all that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's embarrassing. And it's like, you know, I understand it's a part of the job. It still hurts, but I would much rather get cut 10 times than to have to ever have somebody tell me I don't know who I am. And then that walk of shame to the front door.
Yeah.
Never again. And
Wow.
so after that, and after, you know, crying my eyes out in my car,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I found out, I was like, man, I need to find out who I am. I need
Yeah.
to find out
Wow.
who I am, and what am I going to do that I'm passionate about, and also feed my family.
Yeah.
And, you know, for me, I look back and like, man, that was so inspiring what Coach Radcliffe did for me, building me up, giving me the confidence, giving me the tools for success on the field. I want to be able to share that with others.
Mm-hmm.
And so I became a performance trainer. And once again, I thought my past I've done it, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I had no clue, man. So I had to find out and really surround myself with people and build relationships with people who have been there and done that. And I can be able to learn from them and kind of see how they coach and how they teach, and then kind of put my own spin on things and how I communicate and how my character, I can start to kind of grow myself after first learning and kind of stealing and starting to kind of like, man, okay, this is how I would approach this, or this is the drills, or this is the foundation I want to be able to, put my athletes through.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've done that for the past 13 years, but over the past like 2 years, honestly, I've really changed. I've been doing more speaking on stages. I've been talking with executives of Fortune 500 organizations and companies, and I understand my story of leadership, and then being how to build a galvanized team. There's a process. There's certain steps that you got to take, and so I've been doing it, and I've been seeing some of the success. And so now, like, man, I had to get my own coach to help me understand what leadership is. And
Right.
like I said, I got my own, like, and I did it from a long time ago, right? Getting in an encyclopedia.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have my own coach that really, like, most people are like, I don't need no coach. I know how, I'm a good guy. I know what I'm doing. And man, when I sat down with my coach, and I looked, and man, the flaws, once I gave him the freedom to be able to basically flash a mirror in my face and he told me, this is how you're showing up in the world. There's no judgment. I'm just showing you the words that you say and how you approach relationships and people. This is what it looks like.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I don't want to look like that. I don't want to look like that. I'm thinking, I don't know. I thought that everybody understood me and how I joke around or how I communicate, but not everybody has the amount of confidence that I have.
Yeah.
And it can come off in a certain way.
Right.
So, just kind of learning about myself and how I can help people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that and some of those stories, and so powerful. You covered a lot of what we really usually, some of the questions that I'll tend to ask. One thing I thought of was like Gary Brackett. He played for the Colts, right, for a long time. He was on my podcast, and he talked about that similar thing with the identity of being that football player, and then it's over, and he's just like hanging around at the house and not trying to figure out like, are you gonna get a job? What are you gonna do? Like, are you gonna go do something? And he told a similar story of what you said about like trying to figure out who he was. And I imagine for many that come out of a professional, you finish at what, like 30, and you're still at the prime of your life, not athletically necessarily, but you got to go figure out like who you're going to be and how you're going to use some of those experiences moving forward. And so, I love that you shared that. And what a gift from that lady that you had the interview with, right?
Yeah.
Like, so powerful.
It was very, and it still gives me chills because it was a low point in my life. And it took from a stranger to be able to share that.
Yeah.
It was a stranger a lady I never met. I don't remember her name, but I do remember how I felt. And I was, man, it just slapped in the face. But here's the thing. Everybody goes through this.
Right.
There's mothers that are super duper good at being a mom.
Yeah.
And have kids. And then once their kids leave the house, a part of them leave, right? Their identity has been wrapped up into being a mom. And, they're still a mom,
Yeah.
but a big part of them, there's a process, there's a stage they go through, like, oh man, well, what am I going to do?
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know,
definitely.
and if they don't have grandchildren,
Yep.
they're like, man, wrapped up into what they want to do. Or
Yeah.
what about those people who are wrapped up in their career, and then because of this, what's happening,
Yeah.
they, they're wrapped up into their career, and all of a sudden they're not working right now,
Yep.
and it's like, now what's next? Well, who am I? What else do I
Yeah.
like?
Right.
It goes same thing
Yeah.
with relationships, right? With relationship, a boyfriend or girlfriend up into, the relationship, and once there's separation, what else? I saw the people who are wrapped up their identities before how perfect their body is or how pretty they are.
Mm-hmm.
You should be, your character shouldn't be wrapped up in those type of deals. And character is really, when you boil it down, it's who you are.
Yeah.
It's who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
What so you talked about a few people really that have impacted your life, like, and that's I often like to ask that, but maybe you can talk a little bit more about, you talked about your after the injury as a freshman, and having so much one-on-one time with one of the best in the world, right? This gal that you don't know, that you never knew, you don't even remember her name, but the impact she made on you. Who are maybe one or two other championship leaders that have impacted you in your life, and really what is it about them that made them great coaches, mentors, leaders that maybe you've taken and helped mold you to who you are as a leader?
Absolutely. I think one is, and I kind of mentioned him, but his name is Henry Barrera. And when I came here to Portland, and I figured after that that interview,
Yeah.
if you want to call it that, after that, I'm a performance trainer. I want to be able to teach speed and strength and power. And so I kind of, started on my own and realized, man, I don't know what I'm talking about. I really don't. And so I think this Henry lived close by, and I knew of him because he worked with our local football team. And I got a chance to see him and how he interacts with the kids, how he always starts with some quote from some book that he's been reading. And has nothing to do with performance, but that's leadership or team.
Yeah.
So he would always start out the training with that. But then from there, like you said earlier, he wasn't doing a ton of fancy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, we started to walk, and then we marched, and then we skipped, and then we ran, and
Mm-hmm.
did it all again. And then we worked on our, something that is super important, I think, from a performance world. It's about injury prevention. And so everything we started after that, after the marching and skipping, all that stuff, we was do injury preventative work. So we worked on stability. We worked on deceleration. He always had a plan. And with that, he always told the kids what we're going to get out of it. So I learned that what I was doing was drills. And that's what kids do all over the internet. They put cones down or they put ladders down, and
Yeah.
they think that's what's going to make you a better football player.
Yep.
And so it's no, it was like, Alex, it's skills, drills, and then competition.
Mm-hmm.
Skills, drills, and then competition.
I love
And
that.
I was like, that's so simple. It can't be
Right.
It can't be. But then I look on my life and what gave me success, especially like early on in my career, because I thought, man, I'm fast. I can jump. I'm a first round draft pick. Having success my rookie year, but then my second year, I had a coach who really got down into Alex. You have all the tools, and said, right now they're paying you a lot of money for what you have from the waist down. you need to speed up your learning and your knowledge, because later on you're not going to have all that speed, you know, that your mom gave you.
Yep.
He said, but they will pay you more. He said that three things. If you own and you learn and you have these three things, you're going to have a ton of success. Assignment, alignment, adjustment. Know your job. And then when you get really good, you learn others' jobs, other people's jobs, your teammates, you know their role and their jobs. Understand how you have to align every defense, every coverage. You can set yourself up for failure if you're misaligned. And then understand adjustments. You know, in the NFL, nobody just lines up and they do that in youth football.
Right.
He
Yeah.
said, understand there's going to be some type of motion, something. You have to already be in your mind, know what the adjustment is going to be. If you own and master these three things, you have great success. And so that gave me like, man, that's only three things. So fast forward to working with Henry, he had three things. And I was like, it can't be that easy. He said, no, it's not that easy. And so I was like, okay, cool. That's a tool, you know?
Yeah.
And so I've been with those three things, where it's an adjustment or skill, drill, and then compete. Those are a big part of my foundation, whether it's working with athletes or working with my corporate clients or my, entrepreneurs, teaching them leadership.
I love that. Yeah, that's great. Assignment, alignment, adjustments, skill, drill, and compete. Got those written down myself. What's the big vision for you? Like, what do you want to do? What's the impact you want to make? I know you said over the last few years, gotten a little bit more into working with these Fortune 500 companies and executives and doing some speaking and coaching. Where do you want to go over the next 5-10 years?
Oh, that's a great coach. I appreciate that. Professionally, man, I really want to I still want to be able to grow. I do love speaking, to groups and just having them kind of sharing my story. That's one level of what I do. I'm going to keep on doing that, but I do want to, I just finished up developing my leadership course. It's a 6-week leadership course for new leaders. And with that, when I say new leaders, you can be a new leader as a parent, right?
Oh, yeah.
Be new to a new manager, new executive, whatever. But, understanding we all lead, we all influence. So I just understand the impact that my leadership coach had on me, Eldridge Broussard. It made me, and being with him, not short term. I've been with him for over a year, for almost a year and a half. And where he took me to where I am now, I have a better vision for my life. As a husband, he's made me a better husband, a better father, and then how I interact with the world. I'm very intentional, and before I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But leadership course. I really want to. I want to help out those athletes who, they're built different. Athletes are built different.
Yeah.
And because of their, like I said, because of their ability, I was once there. Because of their ability, that supersedes their character. And once their ability, or once their character, and most of the time, it's not the good part. Is the bad part of their character. Once that supersedes their ability, for instance, Antonio Brown, all the talent in the world, all the talent, he can still play. He's still a top 3 receiver, but his lack of character has superseded his ability, and now he's damn near untouchable.
I know it.
Nobody wants to have that type of and hey, it's what he showed.
Yeah.
It's what he showed on in social media, on TV,
Yeah.
you know, all the stuff he showed, his lack of character. What coach wants to have that? And then he's a leader. He's an influencer.
Yeah.
You know. I'll give you another athlete, and I know we're in crunch for time, but another athlete who's really shown he's changed is Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
If you
Yes.
noticed,
Yeah.
over the past year and a half up until his last fight,
Yeah.
how he's changed. I was like, man, something's changed with him.
Yeah.
And I like it.
Yeah.
Because he was taking on that bad guy role and whatnot. But I was like, man, something's changed. And come to find out, he did have a coach, a personal development or leadership coach. He's happened to be one of the best on the planet.
Yeah, one of the greatest ever.
Tony Robbins.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's like, man, if he can change him, and it's not a whole bunch of Tony Robbins, right?
Right.
And so I've walked that walk. I've gone down that road, meaning, man, I know what it's like to be on the top of the world, and not everybody even cares or even talk to you. Nobody tells you the truth. In my opinion, good friends rarely tell you the truth, or they might not even know it. They might not even know it. I'm the person that can tell people the truth and then be able to help them to want to go. If they want to become a better person, number one, better person, I can help lead them. And with becoming a better person and understanding them how you influence people, and you can change the trajectory of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just a great power to, you know, what you do, what I'm doing is, you know, the power of having a great coach in your life. You have coaches. I have coaches personally myself, and, you know, Antonio Brown needed a little Alex Molden in his life, especially over the last year and a half. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like he had that person. And to your point, like, I don't think he had the right friends around him either. No one was willing to stand up and be like, Tony, what are you doing, man? Like, I think surround yourself with people that would be willing to tell you the things that maybe you don't want to hear, but you really need to, right?
Yep. And sometimes being nice, too nice, is not nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
exactly.
do it here all the time. This is what you're putting out into the world. Yeah. How do you want to be perceived? If that's you, then hey, if you want to show up like this, okay.
Yeah.
If you want to show up in another way, I can help you.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's wrap it up here as we are, you know, up on our time, but to finish this off, what's one or two things that, like, if you were able to tell the listeners today would help move them forward if they implement it today, right? Or what are one or two things that you could share with them?
I would say just, you know, what I've learned, if I can do three, just that assignment, alignment, and adjustment. Those are my big three.
I love that.
You know, understanding how do you want to align, right? How do you want to, well, number one, what is your assignment? Mm-hmm. You know, for a long time, I didn't know what my assignment was. And I finally found out what my assignment is how I want to. And then now from there, how do I align myself? Do I need to change the people that I'm associated with, mm-hmm. who are influencing me? Do I need to change that? Do I need to, you know, if I'm trying to become the most fit person I can possibly be, I got to change actions. I got to I can't eat potato chips. If I want to look a certain way, I can't do that. I can't do what regular people want to do. All right. And then from there, it's like, what's the mindset you have to adjust to those new behaviors that you want to create? So, assignment, alignment, and adjustment. You just got to and writing it down, but then also speaking it.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two powerful things that can help you transform.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. What's the way we could get find out? You mentioned the 6-week leadership course. How do we access that?
Yeah, absolutely. You know me, I try to keep it simple. I try to keep it simple. So you just go to alexmolden.com. And from
Perfect.
there, it has my, everything I do from a leadership standpoint. You just click on the tab that says High Achievers Academy,
Okay.
and click on that, and that takes you through it.
I love it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you can. Yeah, High Achievers Academy.
High Achievers Academy.
And that's on my Alex Molden website.
Cool. Appreciate you coming on, Alex. Thank you so much, man. It's been an awesome conversation. Maybe would love to do this again sometime down the road too, if you're up for it. So,
Coach Nate, thank you so much for having me. This was great. I love being able to, kind of share my journey, and not just about success. It's about the failures and what you can be able to do with it that can change lives. So, yeah, thank you. I appreciate you.
You bet. Have a great day.
You too.